Greetings, Ghouloots. Tommy Burns here. Welcome once again to my vault of EC collectibles. And today we're going to take a look at some vintage EC Comics paperback collections. The first one came out in 1964, Tales from the Crypt. Beautiful cover painting by Frank Frazetta here. The Crypt Keeper in a graveyard. It doesn't get much better than this. And on the back cover we see here that the Ghoul Lunatics are back. These books were probably a great nostalgia trip for first-generation EC fans who remembered the comics, and in fact, these copies come from the collection of 50s fanzine editor-publisher Ron Parker of the legendary Hoo-Ha. So he'd be a great example of one of those folks. What these books also did was introduced a new second generation to EC Comics. A lot of them were Mad fans who recognized in these pages the familiar format of the Mad paperbacks, also published by Ballantine, that reprinted comic book material with a couple panels per page. And they also recognized a lot of their favorite artists from the Mad comics in these pages and started kind of putting together the history. So these really kind of introduced that second generation wave of EC fandom. 1964, Tales from the Crypt, followed in 1965 by The Vault of Horror. And you can see here that Frazetta is doing a more comic booky layout. And he did all 5 of these covers. Vault of Horror is the one that is missing. This original cover is lost, has not surfaced, and it's a beautiful one. This corpse rising from his coffin, the Vault Keeper down here. So Tales from the Crypt did really well. It was followed by The Vault of Horror, and then there was a collection of science fiction stories, also in 1965, called Tales of the Incredible. Another beautiful cover by Frazetta. A lot of people have asked on these covers what happened to the other panels. There were no other panels. They were just drawn this way to simulate a comic book. And we do know the whereabouts of this beautiful alien piece, but when the original art was sold, the rocket ship was cut off and sold separately. If anyone knows where that is, I'd love to know about it. So Tales of the Incredible reprinted weird science and weird fantasy stories, and it was a lot of fans' first introduction to the brilliance of EC sci-fi. And again, a lot of the familiar Mad artists are here, and a lot of the familiar Mad names. So people were discovering that there was a lot more to the publisher of Mad in the early 50s, and really discovering EC Comics through these paperbacks. These were followed by 2 collections of Ray Bradbury EC adaptations. Autumn People is horror stories, Tomorrow Midnight is sci-fi, and I have heard that the cover of Autumn People is a particular favorite of the Frazetta family, and I believe the painting is still in the family. Both of these books have exclusive introductions by Ray Bradbury, and these completed the set of 5 EC Comics reprint paperbacks. Then also worthy of mention, in the early 70s, there were a couple movie tie-in paperbacks for Tales from the Crypt and Vault of Horror, and both of these were written by Jack Olek, who was also an EC Comics writer. He was one of the outside writers brought in by Al Feldstein to write for EC Comics towards the end of the New Trend era. So this is kind of a great selection here of vintage EC Comics paperbacks, all worth seeking out, and especially in the case of the comic reprints, really instrumental in introducing a new generation to EC Comics. I know a lot of fan addicts who discovered EC through these great paperbacks. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon.